My new neighbor's parties are creeping me out. 25M, just moved into a duplex. Rent is affordable, it's nice to finally escape apartment life, and I'm so excited to be able to have a garden. Everything has been great so far except my neighbors/housemates are giving me weird vibes. I live in one half of the house, and a couple, probably in their mid-30s, lives on the other side. Let's call them Arden and Andrea. I haven't met them yet, but in the week I've been here, something kind of strange has been happening. 2 times, they've had a bunch of people over, like 15 people. For reference, the house isn't super big to begin with, so 15 people on their side is likely a bit of a squeeze. But the weird thing is that there is zero noise from their side. Like, complete silence. Our walls are not thick, I hear when they vacuum, so you'd think 15 people hanging out would bleed through the walls, but nothing. The people they've had over also look to be in their 30s and all walk up to their door, go in, and then nothing. I don't know why it's creeping me out, but that's 17 people on the other side of the wall and zero noise. They're in there for about an hour or so, and then they all leave. Has anyone had anything like this before, or have any ideas what they might be doing? I don't want to say anything because that'd be weird, but I also want to know what goes on over there. Edit, okay, there have been some developments. I posted an update but don't know how to link it here. Update 1, wow, I did not expect this post to get this much attention. Y'all had a bunch of ideas I hadn't thought of as to what my neighbors were doing last week. Unfortunately, I'm still, if not more, confused than I was before. I made cookies yesterday and took them over this morning to introduce myself and maybe ask what they're up to if it came up naturally. And I can say 100% there is something weird going on with the neighbors. The woman opened the door, and I said hey and gave her my name, told her that I moved in next door, and offered her the cookies. She looked at me for like 15 seconds without saying anything. It was like a head-to-toe kind of look. Then she smiled really big and was like, "Hi, I'm Andrea. Welcome to the neighborhood." And then she asked if I wanted to come over on Sunday night because they're having a gathering. I asked what kind of gathering, and she just said, "Bring a notebook and a pen." I asked why, and she said it's going to be fun and I'll meet new people, and just kind of smiled at me. I was creeped out. I said I'd have to check my schedule, and she looked like she knew I was stalling but said she hoped I could make it. Then I went back to my side of the house. Anyway, I don't know if I should go because if it's something religious, I'm not interested, and if it's something else, I don't want to just go in blind. What should I do? And what do you think it is? Update 2, okay, guys, thank you for all your ideas and thoughts on whether I should go or not. If you missed my first 2 posts, the TLDR is that I moved into a duplex and my neighbors had a bunch of people over, but I would never hear any noise through the very thin walls, which was weird. I went and introduced myself and got invited to one of these gatherings with no information except to bring a notebook and pen. Even though some people said I shouldn't go, I went, and I just got back. I have a lot to update you on, and I'm also not entirely sure what just happened, so please hang with me. So Andrea said 8, and at about 7:45, people started showing up like they did last week. I waited a few more minutes and then went over and knocked on their door with the notebook and pen she asked me to bring. A woman I didn't recognize opened the door, and I said Andrea invited me over. She introduced herself and led me inside. We walked through the living room and kitchen, which were normal. I was expecting bondage gear after all of you who were like, it's a sex thing. Then she opened a door in the hall. Those of you wondering if they had a basement on their side were right. We walked down the stairs, and in the unfinished basement were all the people I've seen going into their house. They were milling around chatting, and there were chairs in a few rows. But the weirdest thing was what was on the walls, dozens of posters of people, cats, dogs, and items. Like missing posters. And sticky notes all around them too. Andrea came up to me and was like, "You came. Yay." She introduced me to her husband, and I was like, "What is this?" They told me that they run a group that tries to find missing people, pets, and items and collect the reward money. I was like, "What?" And they kept explaining, but I honestly tuned them out. I was panicking more than a little bit because, out of all the things y'all said might be going on, this wasn't something I'd considered or prepared my mind for. I asked if they'd ever actually solved anything, and Andrea said they've found a few pets and stolen items and feel like they have some leads on people. They introduced me to a few other attendees, and then the meeting, for lack of a better word, began. Andrea and her husband stood at the front while everyone else sat in the chairs and called people up who I guess had been assigned different cases. They gave updates on their progress. This couple came up and talked about how they'd gone to the police station to ask about a missing woman in the county, and the police hadn't told them anything. Like, duh. Why would they? Then a guy got up and gave his theory on a briefcase that was stolen out of someone's car. It was so weird, but if I had gotten up and left, everyone would have seen me, and I didn't want to stand out. At the end of the meeting, Andrea called me up and pulled a missing cat poster off the wall and told me it was my first case. I was too stunned to say anything, so I just took it and sat back down. When the thing ended, I got the hell out of there, and now I'm writing this. So Reddit, my new neighbors run a civilian bounty hunter ring out of their basement, which is why I didn't hear any noise through the walls. And I'm supposed to be looking for an orange cat named Peaches who has a $200 reward. What the hell do I do? Anticipating a question, I have no idea what they do with the money they get. I did not want to hang around and dig any deeper. I guess this isn't the weirdest thing the more I think about it, but I don't want to be a member of whatever this is. Edit, yes, I am looking for Peaches. There have been a few developments too that I'm trying to deal with. I may post another update at some point. Edit 2, now that some of the shock has worn off, this is kinda rad, and I feel it may be my moral duty to find Peaches. Final update, okay, first off, I did not expect these posts to get so much attention. I've loved seeing how enthusiastically you guys have been campaigning for Peaches to be found. I am actively looking for her, but the situation has progressed. Monday afternoon, I got a knock on my door, and it was Andrea. She thanked me for coming on Sunday and asked me what my plan was for Peaches. I told her I was going to call her owner and ask some questions. We exchanged pleasantries, and she went back to her side. Tuesday, I got a string of texts from her asking if I'd found Peaches yet. I said no, but that I'd spoken to her owner, an older lady, and that I was going to go look around her property with her permission. She replied with a frowny face emoji. Wednesday, I got another text, "Hey, where is little Peaches? Looking forward to that rewards. Let us know when you found her." I texted back and asked what the money was for. No response. Today, Andrea knocked on my door again. I opened it, and she asked if I had found Peaches yet. I said no and asked her directly why she was pressuring me about the reward. She got super defensive and basically admitted that the club takes a massive cut of any reward money and that she relies on it to help with rent. This was weird because, to my knowledge, they haven't had a huge amount of success with finding stuff, so? She asked me not to say anything to any other group members. I said I wouldn't, but I also said that I didn't want to participate in the group anymore. She said she understood but left kind of annoyed. But don't worry, Reddit. I am looking for Peaches. I am invested at this point, and I'm pretty sure y'all would hound me down if I didn't. Thank you for listening to this rambling and unexpected update. If anything else happens regarding Peaches, I will post another update, but that's all for now. Oh, and thank you for the cat finding advice. A few people suggested using a laser, putting food outside around where she lives, and checking with the neighbors because cats usually don't go far.